this Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I'm Tina, and this is Proust Reflections. This is Book 3, Part 5, so page 426 to 520 in my version. This week, literally nothing happened in my life. It's snowing out, which it usually is at this time of year, given I live in Ontario, so that's it. Good old lockdown, nothing going on. Something important happened to Marcel, though, this week. His grandmama is gone. She has left this world. Poor Marcel. I feel bad for him. So what else happened, though? Before Grandma goes, he talks about death a lot, obviously. He discusses how we can perceive it, but as much as we try to mentally prepare for it, we really can't. It's not something we can actually kind of imagine. He talks about Bergot, who visits his grandmother, and Marcel realizes that he doesn't kind of venerate Bergot as much as he once did. He finds the man's work less kind of interesting and challenging and artistic, I guess. He's outgrown him, maybe. Grandma gets worse, and he describes this in great detail. There's a lot of focus on Grandma's kind of downward slide, which I think makes sense. He was very close to his grandmother, and I think we all can identify with this, even if we haven't seen an older or younger person, on their deathbed. I've seen a couple. What I haven't seen is leeching. So gross. I still can't believe that people did that, just slightly over 100 years ago. It's crazy. Grandma dies, probably from the frickin' leeches. After that, Marcel and St. Lou make up because they had a bit of a fight off screen. They didn't really make up, it's just their argument kind of faded away because Robert and Rachel broke up, but they still remain casual together, which is fine. Good for them. It's probably a better situation for them anyway. After this whole thing, Marcel is lounging in his room, and Albertine, the one from Balbec, shows up. They talk for a long time, hours apparently, and they end the time with a bit of good old-fashioned making out, which Francois interrupts. Francois seems to think that she should be a chaperone to Marcel and prevent him from, there's a word that Francois is, and I'm going to use it. She cockblocks Marcel. It's pretty funny. Marcel then goes to a party where he meets the Duchess there. He no longer loves her, of course, because he never loved her. He just had a thing for her. And as such, she's intrigued by his indifference and invites him to dinner. So in a roundabout way, he got what he wanted, but now he doesn't care. Such is life, I guess. That's kind of what happened. Most of this chapter, or this part, was focused on, grandmama. There are some interesting moments, though. At the start of the chapter, Marcel is trying to find his grandmother a cab and runs into this doctor that he knows. The doctor agrees to see grandmother briefly. After checking over, he goes to Marcel and he says, "Your grandmother is doomed." What kind of language is that? It's terrible. Someone's doomed. I'm just going to go around telling people that, you're doomed. He says at one point about Bergot, he says, he led the vegetative life of a convalescent, of a woman after childbirth. Excuse me, Marcel, but you know nothing about being pregnant, giving birth, or having a baby on hand. I've done it twice, and it's not easy. New mothers are the least vegetative people, and this is coming, how dare he? He's this guy that he's sick all the time, because he's lazy. He's and he has the gal to say that, women after childbirth are, in a vegetative state. Give me a break. Marcel, you just keep pissing me off. He also says, she was like an enchantress offering me a mirror that reflected time. In this she resembled all the people whom we seldom see now, but with whom at one time we lived on more intimate terms. So he's talking about Albertine here, and he's saying that because she's changed so much since the last time he saw her, but he still has vivid memories of her younger, it's like he's transported back to that time and remembers it fresh. It's kind of like she brings him back to kind of his old memories, and even though, they're not the most compatible of people now, he still has feelings for her because of the feelings he had for her back then. So those kind of transmute time, I guess he's trying to say. It's kind of interesting. At one point he mentions, speaking of a duel I had fought. What? When are you fighting duels? Why isn't this in the book? What were you fighting a duel about? Who did you fight? Did you win? Did you kill the man? We get 15 pages about Mr. Norpois' background, but we don't get this cool ass duel. What the hell's going on here? I've been denied. If anyone knows what duels Marcel has been fighting, please let me know, because I want to know about that. That is interesting to me. So Marcel makes another disparaging comment about sex workers. So he says, the women one meets, first of all, in a brothel are of no interest because they remain invariable. So he's saying that all women in brothels are exactly the same. You can just trade them, there's no difference between any of them. Marcel likes to disparage sex workers, in my opinion, because he has a problem with his own sexuality and he projects that onto people that he thinks, are lesser than him. And he is an elitist bastard, and I really don't like him at times. So yeah, he can stop with his sex worker stuff, Marcel. No one's impressed, okay? So then we wonder, why did Marcel all of a sudden stop loving the Duchess? Well, here's why. His mother says to him, "You really must stop hanging about trying to meet Madame de Guermantes. You're becoming a laughingstock." I died. Thank you to her for finally calling him out for being a little freak. She's like, "You're embarrassing me, my son. Please stop." It's amazing. And then he says, "I was genuinely indifferent and seeking only to be polite, whereas when I was in love with her, I had tried so desperately, without ever succeeding, to assume an air of indifference." This is interesting because it's so true. Like, people, no matter what it is, whether it's love or whatever, are genuinely pretty easy to read when it comes to what we care or don't care about. So many people pretend to not care about things when they really, really do care a lot. And the Duchess clearly saw through his little facade of indifference and was like, dork. There's a couple of quotes that I liked. "At the foot of the bed, convulsed by every grasp of his agony, not weeping, but at moments drenched with tears, my mother stood with the unheeding desolation of a tree, lashed by the rain and shaken by the wind." I thought that was a really good way to describe kind of grief. It was really well done. Really well done, Marcel, 10 out of 10. Those who have played a big part in one's life very rarely disappear from it suddenly for good. They return to it at odd moments, before leaving it forever. And this is true as well. Like, normally you don't get a clean break with someone. People pop back into your life even after you've kind of ended things with them, or if you've ghosted them or whatever. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I wonder if that'll come back. I wonder if Rachel will feature more in the story at all, or if she's just kind of gone. Who knows? I mean, Marcel doesn't have the biggest opinion of Rachel anyway, so he probably has no interest in talking about her, but I wouldn't mind seeing more Rachel. She at least has some kind of, she's at least not one of these rich people. She has a bit more interesting social background. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Sorry if this one's a bit rambly. I am very tired today. My toddler, no, thankfully she slept through the night. My other one, my infant, she was up every 2 hours, and then between 2 and 4 I just couldn't sleep. So that's why my eyes are like bloodshot, and I am yeah, I don't know what else to say. Goodbye.